Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks, and good morning. I'm Alice Lema. I'm a broker here in beautiful Southern Oregon with John L. Scott Real Estate. And today we're going to be interviewing our new home energy score assessor in Southern Oregon, Scott Moore of Scott Moore Construction. He's a general contractor. He's also board certified master home inspector, and he recently got certified to do home energy score assessments down here in Southern Oregon. And if you've never heard about this, welcome to the club. It's something kind of new. It's very popular. Well, I won't say popular because it's mandatory in Portland. Before you can even sell your home, you now are required to do this home energy assessment and have a report available to your potential buyers. So Scott Moore of Scott Moore Construction went ahead and got certified to be our local Southern Oregon home energy score assessor. And I believe he's the first. And so he's going to come on the show and educate us on what a home energy score assessment is, what it's not, why he thinks it's a good thing, and just to educate all of us so we know what it is. So I'm super excited. I don't know much about it myself, but Scott Moore of Scott Moore Construction will be coming here quickly to educate and answer some questions. Before we bring Scott in, let's check the local stats for the week. Josephine County, year to year, the prices are still up 1%, so that's almost neutral. But I'm telling you, the number of homes sold, these are residential only, but Josephine County number of homes sold year to year is down 16%. Jackson County, the prices are up 3% year to year, but the number of solds are down 23%. See something common here? Klamath Falls prices are up still 8%, but the number sold in Klamath County year to year is down 17%. I'm telling you, folks, we still have a low inventory situation in Southern Oregon. We still have a few more buyers than sellers. I know it's not like that in other parts of the country because I watch the news too. It's hard to watch, but I do watch it. And I'm just here to say, if you've ever thought of selling in the next couple of years, you might want to think about it now, because we understand the market conditions, we understand the interest rates, and we still have more buyers than sellers in a lot of our price points. So give it some thought. In the meantime, let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. Thank you to John L. Scott, Ashland, Medford, our local Rogue Valley Association of Realtors, ARVAR, and Guy Giles, Mutual Mortgage. We appreciate your support in helping to bring this show every single week so we can educate our listeners and be good consumers in real estate. So don't touch that dial. Scott Moore will be right back talking about the home energy assessment. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. Alice Lema here, broker John L. Scott, beautiful Southern Oregon, with one of my favorite people, Scott Moore from Scott Moore Construction. And he's going to be talking to us about the home energy score assessment. Welcome, Scott.
Good morning, Alice. Nice to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. So a lot of people don't even know about the Oregon Energy Score assessment. Can you kind of give us like an overview of what it is and what it is not?
Well, first of all, I've got to say that there is a misconception of what the home energy score is. And people think, or a lot of people think, that if I have a low energy score, you're saying my house is not worthy or a piece of crap or something like that. And that's not at all what this is about. Okay, it's a comprehensive calculation that creates an easy to understand evaluation of your home energy use. Okay, and how it can be improved. And so what they're trying to do is create something simple to understand, like a miles per gallon rating.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And so it's like I said, it's a very complicated and comprehensive formula that goes into this very simple equation. So what it actually entails is we look at the attributes of the home. That would be the how many stories there are, the orientation of the home, the condition, floor space, and the age of the home as well. And it also included in that is the attic and roof conditions, basically what the type of attic it is, whether it's conditioned or non-conditioned. The color of the roofing has a lot to do with it. And then the area of windows and skylights, and also the foundation is involved in that as well. And then also the equipment evaluation is also put into this equation. And that would be the heating and cooling, the type of ducting, whether the house has been air sealed or not, and type of domestic water heater system. All
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to it. And also involved with that is the average in the municipalities, whether it's Avista or somebody else, or in our area, it's Avista and Pacific Power, with the exception of Ashland. Ashland has their own electric service. So all these different factors go into the equation.
So how did you get into the home energy score assessment business? Because I've known you forever as a general contractor and amazing master inspector, board certified.
Well, thank you. So it's mandated now in the Portland area that all listings are required to have a home energy score before the listings go live. And they're pushing for that to go down into Ashland. And they were asking for people to get certified as an assessor. And so I pursued that because I could see the market was slowing down some, and I wanted to be able to try and make myself available for these assessments. So I went ahead and did that. And now I'm the only one in Southern Oregon that is certified by the Department of Energy to do these assessments.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And to get my state certification was real simple. I just needed to get certified in building science. And, this is something I've been doing all my adult life, so that was easy. But the Department of Energy training, that took several months.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it took several months. It's a very long, exhausting process, as you can imagine, anything with the federal government.
Well, how exciting. So how long have you had your home energy score assessor certificate?
It's been I think I got my my actual certification in July, maybe
of 2022. So yeah. You're coming up on your first year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how is it going?
It's picking up here and there. Like I said, people are afraid of this score. It's a valuable tool. It really is. It's a very useful tool. I have done several of them now. And one of the first ones I did was for an energy professional in Ashland. And he's getting ready to sell his house in a couple of years. And he's done a lot of upgrades to it. And he did a score himself a couple of years ago before he started doing the remodel work. And he had me come back and do a score on his home again now that all of his work has been completed. And he came out with a 9 out of 10, which is really good, even for a brand new home. And this is a 1964 built home that he had upgraded, and it's going to be one of the most energy efficient homes in Ashland, I'm sure. So I created that score for him, and he wanted it to go public. And so it's public for anybody to view.
Like anybody?
Yeah, anybody can go there. And the address is 585 Taylor Street in Ashland.
585 Taylor Street. Okay.
And you simply go to the Green Building Registry and search that address. And you can download the report and also download the appraisal addendum.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. So this gentleman in Ashland is an energy specialist. Is that what you said?
He works in the energy industry in Ashland. I don't know the name of the company, but they do the blower door tests and that kind of stuff for new construction
Mm-hmm.
for the Energy Star homes. And I have worked with his partner, and I've worked with this gentleman also. We've come across each other during inspections.
Okay.
So, and he's also a volunteer with the Electrify Ashland group.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a group that's actually in quite a few cities now, Electrify Eugene, example. So he's working in that industry as well.
Well, I think that's really bold and awesome that he put his own report into the public forum, because then people have a zero risk looking at what the report is, how his turned out, get a little more comfortable. So I think we'll do that. 585 Taylor Street in Ashland. We'll go to the Green Building Registry and look it up and see what it is. But you said he got a 9. What's the highest score you can get?
10 is the highest score you can get.
10. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a simple evaluation to this complex calculation. And excuse me, in the score, so it's a 1 to 10. And say you come in at a 5, that means your home uses more energy than 50%.
Oh, I see. So it's not so much of a judgment.
Yeah, that's what the number means. So that 9 is really good. He uses less energy than 90% of the homes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So also in that they talk about they estimate your energy use, what it should be, and how it can be improved with equipment changes, window changes, insulation changes, that kind of thing. And it also measures your carbon footprint. So you know where you are, and you know where you could be.
Okay, so I can't even imagine how many items are being evaluated in this energy score assessment. Is there a number? Because the report's quite lengthy, isn't it?
It takes generally, I take probably about an hour to an hour and a half in the home, getting all the information that I need. And then it goes into a scoring tool.
Okay.
Scoring tool, it goes to the green registry, and then the final document is created. And it's only a 2-page document.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's just a 2-page document. And then how can the results be kept private?
Yes, they're
Okay.
private unless you want them to be public.
Gotcha. We're talking to Scott Moore Construction. He's our first in Southern Oregon home energy score assessor. And so we're just grabbing him to get educated about what this is. And it's really quite fascinating. So as people get more aware of this, they can hire you or somebody like you to come in and do it, whether they're doing a home inspection or not. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. It can be bundled with the home inspection, or it can be a standalone service.
Okay, and you do not have to make it public.
No, you do
but
not.
You can if you want.
Yeah, you have the option to go either way. And if you do your initial evaluation and you keep it private, it's very difficult to make it public. From that, I can't do it myself. Only the one administrator of the site could actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not something that Big Brother isn't snooping on yet.
Okay, not yet. Just kidding, folks. We're not a political show. There's a little house humor there. So, well, one of the concerns people have right now, in the state of Oregon, at least, and maybe across the country, is that the use of natural gas is being discussed to possibly not use natural gas so much. And is that an item on this energy score assessment?
So there, all of the different types of equipment can be added into this score, and they are added into the score regardless whether it's all electric or you've got gas. There is a lot of very efficient, high-rated gas equipment out there.
Okay.
For example, like a tankless water heater.
Those are amazing.
Yeah, but the electric ones don't work very well. Only the gas ones do. The electric
Really?
yeah.
So can you just touch on that? We've got about a minute left, but I didn't realize there was a difference.
Oh yeah, there's a big difference. In fact, the plumbers that I always used when I was still doing construction on a regular basis would not even install them because they were always
a lot of plumbers say that. I didn't know why.
Yeah, there's always callbacks on them.
So they actually don't function properly.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
Hot water.
Oh, good grief. Well, we can't have that.
If you've got a teenager that's taking a 15-minute shower, forget it.
Yeah. Okay. So the gas tankless hot water heaters are better
than the electric ones.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hold that thought. We want to talk more about all of the equipment that goes into a house and home energy score. We're with Scott Moore Construction, our first ever in Southern Oregon home energy score assessor. He's got decades of experience, super informative, and apparently a trailblazer because he's the first one to have this assessment for the home energy score program. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back from a word from our sponsors. Don't go away. Well, welcome back, folks, to the Real Estate Show. I'm Alice Lema. I'm a broker with John L. Scott Real Estate. We're having one of our favorite people, Scott B. Moore from Scott B. Moore Construction back, and he's our first ever in Southern Oregon home energy score assessor. And Scott, you were talking right before the break about hot water heaters and natural gas, and find it very interesting that the electric tankless hot water heaters are not recommended.
Yeah. And I think it just makes common sense as far as that goes. The higher rated water heaters are the heat pump water heaters. Those are the much more expensive ones, the high efficiency ones. But the gas domestic water heaters right now, they score very high. They're very efficient, and that's what I have in my own home. I'm real happy with it.
Yeah, people love them. People love their natural gas. We have a lot of it in the Northwest. What about the furnaces?
The same with furnaces as well. Now, as far as the energy score goes, the ductless heat pumps, the mini splits, they rank the highest, and there's different grades of those as well. There's Energy Star ones, and there's ones that aren't Energy Star, but they by far rank the highest. But your high efficiency gas furnaces, they rank very well also. For example, my home was built back in 2012. I've got gas domestic water. I've got a gas furnace and an air conditioning system. And I scored a 7 out of 10 with no improvements. And the only improvements I could do is do duct sealing and air sealing to get up to an 8.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that's an energy efficient home.
So, and again, let's just remind the listeners that the score is not a judgment. It's what again?
Yeah,
like if you got an 8, that means what?
That means that I use less energy than 80% of the homes in our area.
Okay.
Yeah. So only 20% would use less than our house. Yeah.
Wow. So going back to the furnaces, the ductless mini splits, some people like them, some people hate them. And so do you think that because they score high on the energy assessment that there's going to be a bigger push perhaps for people to switch to those?
Well, I know in a lot of new construction, especially for the Energy Star homes that are being built in Ashland, they're all ductless mini splits now. And they're
really,
yeah. If you're going with a full green building, that's what you got. Okay,
but not all new construction, just the green buildings.
They're not all Energy Star partners, not everyone is, but there are subdivisions. The last subdivision I worked on, I was an Energy Star partner.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So how
is the public receiving? And just to remind people, the ductless mini splits, They're not the thing that sits outside your house. They're the big thing on the wall,
Yeah.
right?
No, there's an outside unit as well. That is actually the heat pump. And then what's on the wall is what they call the air handler. Basically it's this, the components are named the same as a standard system. Standard system. Yeah.
And how are they cost wise compared to a heat pump?
They can be cost effective. They can, especially if you're looking at something like an older structure that maybe something that's on slab on grade and doesn't have much of an attic where you can't run ducting and that kind of thing. They can be cost effective.
Interesting. Now in Portland, do they have a different set of rules and criteria than what you're doing, or is it the same thing?
It's basically the same thing. The only thing I think that would make a difference is municipalities up there. That would probably be the one big difference. But essentially, there's close to 600 assessors across the nation, and
That's not very many, though. Sorry.
There's been thousands of evaluations done.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, in our state, it's all in the Portland area. But we all use the same scoring tool, and the only thing that changes is just the geographic locations. So municipalities and the average energy consumption in your area, that kind of thing.
Oh, so that's interesting. So there's a regional component to this
Absolutely. Yeah.
energy score assessment. So would that mean that someplace like Denver or Lake Tahoe might have a different average score just because of their altitude and snow?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. That's exactly what we're talking about here. You could have a 2,000 square foot house here in Southern Oregon and have the exact same house in Texas, and the score is going to change.
Yeah, I bet.
And with everything exactly the same.
Well, how fascinating.
Yeah.
So I wonder if people might start using regions energy average in their decision to move. If they want to be with a smaller footprint, for example, they might pick a more mild climate.
Well, that's, with people that are able to work remotely nowadays, that's certainly something that I'm sure people are considering.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure that reasons into a lot of people's decisions.
Well, and if it's a scoring component, then yeah, it could become a thing. We're talking to Scott Moore Construction. He's our first ever in Southern Oregon home energy score assessor. So he's educating us and giving us lots of information about what that all includes. Let's talk about roofs, because roofs are fascinating to me. And I bet there are different kinds of roofs have different scores. Is that right?
Mostly the roofing components color is what factors into this, how they reflect the sun, how much they absorb. And in the attic, there's two different types of roof sheathing that can be used. You can use a standard plywood or OSB, or they have a solar guard type of sheathing that actually reflects sun. And
really?
It's basically the same OSB component, but it has like a foil backer on it. And that foil backer goes down, it points down into the attic area. So you can see it, you can know, it's real easy to distinguish it. And that helps to deflect heat into the attic. So, all those kind of things as far as the roof goes. Ventilation, whether it's a finished attic, which would mean that it could be like a cathedral ceiling that has insulation between the rafters, or if it's our standard blown in loose fill fiberglass type insulation.
Okay, so lots more questions. The different types of roofs that we see here in Southern Oregon, we see metal roofs, we see the lifetime tile, there's some flat roofs, there's the regular black composite. How do those all rate in this new home energy score assessment?
Well, like I mentioned, it's the color of the roof is what.
So it's not the material, it's just the
Yeah,
color?
material, yeah, it's the color. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the type of roofing is factored into the equation, but really what matters is the color. Yeah,
Okay, well, that was simple.
real simple. That part.
So you mentioned insulation. Let's talk about the different types of insulation and especially what we're using here in Southern Oregon and how they might be rated on the home energy score.
Okay, so there we actually have a chart for what the insulation requirements have been actually since back in the 60s in Oregon and the northern territories here, and we kind of default to that. But I have to verify that there is insulation in the walls, and that we have a technique for that as well without using any complicated equipment. The newer insulation that we have now, especially, I mean, it's really gotten a lot better in the last 20 years or so. For instance, in a typical exterior 2x6 wall cavity, the best insulation we could do, say in 95 was an R19. Well, now in a bad insulation, you can have an R21 now. In
Oh
the
my
same,
gosh.
yeah, and the same thing in the floor insulation as well. Just not too long ago, the best we could do was a R21 in a 9-inch cavity. We can do an R30 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, technology is working its way in every part of the building process. That's for sure.
So if somebody has an older home, because that's really common in Southern Oregon, how would they upgrade their insulation? Because they're not starting from scratch like new construction. So what are their options?
Well, okay, so it's never recommended to do upgrade insulation in your walls as far as the energy score goes, just because it's so invasive.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can upgrade your floor and your attic insulation capacity, but there's more to it than that as well. I mean, it's a lot of people think that the home energy score is something, oh, well, anybody can figure that out. But what might seem remedial to you and me and other people just fly by some people.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one here not too long ago, and they had called me to come do this assessment because the power company sent them a notice saying that they were using way more power than anybody else in their neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
And they should turn their thermostat down to 62. And these people were from, these people were from and the last thing they want to do is freeze in their house. So I went out there and did the assessment and made all the improvement recommendations. But what they didn't realize was they had a house that was built in the 80s, common track house, and the garage was not finished except for the firewall separation. Well, they added a heat register into the garage and used that as a heated workspace. So they're pumping heat, conditioned air into this garage with no insulation in the walls, and they added. I mean, like our parents used to say, they were heating the neighborhood.
But a lot of us do that. We punch a little vent so that it can flow from the house to the garage. That's pretty common.
Yeah. So leaving the door open and no insulation anywhere. That's really the large part of that energy cost is going.
So your recommendation was to finish the garage?
Well, I told them that they should just keep that duct closed except for when they're going to use it, and keep the fire door closed and have instead of having it wide open.
Simple, no cost fixes. That's what we love about you, Scott. We're talking to Scott Moore Construction. He's actually very well known in the home inspection world. He's a board certified master inspector, and he's our first ever in Southern Oregon home energy score assessor. Scott, you're going to have to hold that thought again. We have to take another quick break. Say thank you to our sponsors, John L. Scott, Ashland and Medford, Guy Giles, Mutual Mortgage, and our local Rogue Valley Association of Realtors, RVAR. We appreciate you very much. This broadcast is going to be repeated again tomorrow, Sunday at 6 p.m. on KCMX 99.5. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Scott Moore and Home Energy Scores. Well, hey, Southern Oregon, welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm Alice Lema, broker, John L. Scott Real Estate. We're talking to Scott Moore Construction, about energy score assessments. He's our first ever home energy score assessor here in Southern Oregon. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Well, thank you for having me.
So many questions. This is such new technology. Let's talk about windows. We're talking about home energy score. Windows are something people think about all the time. How does that work with these scores?
So first, people really need to realize that there are a lot of different types of windows. And just because it's a dual glazed window doesn't mean it's argon filled, low E.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of windows on the market. They're even used in our area that are just double pane glass. There is several different types of coatings that can go on the glass that change the U rating and the E value as well. So yeah, not all windows are the same, and we have different ways of looking at windows to determine what type of tinting is on there. For example, the windows at my home, they're argon filled and solar guard windows. So it's a coating that you can't really see. It's not really tinted, but you can see it with an LED flashlight. If you shine it in a particular way, you can tell the difference between the two panels. It's kind of
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to look at it that way. But yeah, so with windows, the square footage of your glass in your home has a lot to do with your energy score. And I looked at one in Ashland not too long ago, a real nice house, beautiful wood windows, but the place was built in the late 80s or early 90s. So these were just double pane windows. And one of the things they were complaining about is they could feel the cold transfer through the glass. But it is, like I said, a real nice home, had all Energy Star equipment, but they had so much fenestration there that their home came out with a score 4.
Oh.
Because of the high energy use or energy loss through the windows. So, and they had a lot of windows. And so, one of the simple fixes is just air sealing that they could do on their own, which was real simple, just caulking around the trim, around the windows, adding the foam gaskets behind all the plugs in the house, that kind of thing, sealing up attic penetrations, and these are things that homeowners can do without.
So you're kind of plugging the leaks, sort of.
Yeah, and that's the point of, I mentioned a blower door test earlier. That's the point of a blower door test. They actually they set up a device in your door and close all the windows and whatnot, and turn it on, and it measures the rate of leakage in the home.
It does, from one device?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So if you're, and these blower door tests are done on all the Earth Advantage homes in Ashland.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so yeah, air sealing has a lot to do with it, but windows and air sealing, that they kind of go hand in hand there, as well as duct sealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about home sales and real estate agents. Because this is so new, especially in our area, what should real estate agents know and understand so that they can speak to their clients about these different environmentally friendly things in a house, or not, or maybe missing from a house?
Okay, so with the home energy score, we're basically setting up a roadmap for what you can do to improve your conditions. Maybe you don't need to do much. Maybe you've got a real high energy efficient home, and all you can do is do duct sealing or something like that. And So it gives you an opportunity to advertise and verify that you have a home, highly efficient.
Okay.
And one of the things in the real estate industry is that home energy efficiency has been and still is grossly underrated for the value of the home. I mean, so many things can be done in just real small steps to save a lot of energy. I think we all are trying to do that now, regardless of how you look at things and your political view. Everybody wants to save energy. Everybody wants a cleaner environment. So if everybody can help out a little bit by making improvements, everybody pitching in a little bit makes a big difference. But like we mentioned earlier, people might be going to different regions if they can work remotely or if they're retiring and want to be in an energy efficient building envelope. So these type of evaluations are key to that.
So that would be recommending to people considering selling their home, they might get a little more action, maybe a little higher price if they do this energy score.
Possibly so.
I kind of agree with that. I think that's,
yeah. But also, so you have an energy score and it says, okay, well, if you upgrade your insulation, tighten up your siding, change windows or whatever, you're going to get, you're going to cut your carbon footprint in half, and your energy consumption is going to go down by $600 a year or something like that. These are just arbitrary numbers. That gives the buyer the incentive to make these changes and get the incentive kickbacks from Department of Energy. So that's another thing that they can look at going into a home.
So the incentives, yeah, and we wanted to make sure we talked about that.
Yeah. So the interesting thing with the incentives is they only qualify for single family residence or mobile homes as well, but they also are available for rental properties. So it doesn't have to be a sale or a purchase. You can upgrade your rental property and get those incentives, and that's
killer.
I'm in the process of doing that in the remodel I'm doing in Jacksonville right now.
Wow. So, gosh, we're going to be out of time. We're going to have you back, but just quickly, the remodel you're doing in Jacksonville, what kind of upgrades are they getting?
Well, this thing is almost a top to bottom upgrade. It's, all the plumbing, insulation.
Oh, it's a complete rehab?
Yeah, it's a complete, I've torn the wall, all the interior walls, all the bearing points.
Okay. Well, most of us are not willing to do that. Okay. So I get it. If you're doing a complete overhaul, that it's easy, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, you can, even if you're doing something as simple as just changing your windows out or changing your attic insulation or something like that, those incentives are still there. When I send out a home energy score, I also send the 2023 list of incentives as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, Scott, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that? What's your cell and what's your email?
Well, they can always reach me at 541-621-1793, or you can reach me at Scott B. Moore Construction at gmail.com, or you can catch me at RogueValleyHomeInspections.com.
Great. And folks, he does answer his phone, and if he can't because he's under a house, he'll text you. He's very, very good that way. Love that. Well, Scott, we're definitely going to have you back. Thanks so much for all that education on the home energy score assessment. Folks, have a great weekend. We'll be back again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Bye now.